From Neural Newscast, this is Model Behavior, AI-focused news and analysis on the models shaping our world.
I am Nina Park. Welcome to Model Behavior. Today, we examine how AI systems are built, deployed, and operated in professional environments. We are focusing on the fallout from a major release out of China that is currently stressing the strategic assumptions of American AI labs and policymakers alike. It is July 20th, 2026, and the landscape of global AI competition is shifting rapidly.
That is right, Nina. Last week, the Chinese company Moonshot AI debuted Kimi K3. According to Business Insider, the model is crushing notable benchmarks and rivals some of the leading United States models from OpenAI and Anthropic, but at a fraction of the expense. It's a moment of friction because it highlights a growing divide. Chinese firms have embraced open-weight models, while the leading United States labs remain largely closed.
Thatcher, the reaction from the United States side hasn't just been technical, it's been political. Dean Ball, a former advisor and now head of strategy at OpenAI, sparked a massive debate over the weekend. He characterized China's open-source strategy as AI communism and suggested it could deter the massive capital expenditures required for AI development. He even predicted the administration might create regulatory risk or uncertainty to stop American firms from using these models.
Which is exactly where the constructive friction comes in. David Sachs, who served as the administration's AI czar until March, called that potential weaponization of regulatory uncertainty completely unacceptable. He argues that closed labs like OpenAI and Anthropic are essentially a duopoly, trying to use the government to eliminate open-source competition. He even went as far as calling Anthropic's models lobotomized on social media due to their restrictive safety layers.
It raises the question of whether this is a genuine national security concern or, as some critics claim, a case of regulatory capture. MIT Technology Review notes that this divide is splitting the administration's orbit into two factions: those who see AI as a national security asset that must be gated, and those who believe the future of American innovation depends on open competition and transparency. But Nina, we have to look at how Kimi K3 got this good so quickly. OpenAI and Anthropic have long alleged that Chinese companies are training their models on the outputs of United States models, a process called distillation. Basically, they are using the reasoning of closed United States systems to bootstrap their own. In April, the administration announced efforts to curb this specific practice. If Kimi K3 is built on distilled data, is it really a rival or just a sophisticated mirror? Even if it is a mirror, Thatcher, the economic impact is real. When a free or low-cost model like Kimi rivals a paid model, United States companies lose the incentive to pay for API access. This has already rattled tech stocks. Anton Leitch from the Carnegie Endowment points out that this is a major problem for an administration that wants to avoid economic bad news, especially as New York just imposed the country's first ban on new data centers.
The compute side is also confusing. We previously saw heavy export controls on top-tier chips. However, the administration recently allowed NVIDIA to sell more chips to China, in exchange for the United States government taking a cut of the revenue. Now, advisors like Emil Michael, a top Pentagon liaison, are openly criticizing the idea of deep state schemes to regulate AI, arguing for a more transparent, democratic process instead of closed-door mandates.
Massage strategy seems to be in flux for the United States. If the goal was to keep China from reaching frontier-level intelligence through chip bans, Kimi K3 suggests that goal hasn't been met. Whether through distillation or simply more efficient architectures, the intelligence gap is closing. This puts pressure on the White House's new review process, which aims to vet model security before any public release.
Exactly. If the United States moves toward a de facto licensing regime while China stays open-weight, we might see a shift where global developers flock to the less restricted ecosystem. As venture capitalist Chamath Palihapitiya put it, the future is open source, and the attempt to gate it might just be a fight against future innovation rather than a protection of it. We will be watching how these regulatory frameworks evolve.
Thank you for listening to Model Behavior, a Neural Newscast editorial segment. For more on this and other stories, visit mb.neuralnewscast.com. Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com.
This has been Model Behavior on Neural Newscast, examining the systems behind the story